Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show where your host is once again tired. Look, it's been that kind of week. I was up till 1 a.m. last night with Scary Game Squad filming, and that'll be out soon, I hope. And I was up late the night before doing Dead Space, and I don't have a lot of sleep. I don't have a lot of sleep all backlogged in my body. So it's gonna be goofy today. Speaking of today in the news, we all knew this was gonna happen. Remember how earlier this week I was all, oh boy, these leaks about Redfall and Starfield seem ominous about what these games will really be? And now another shoe drops as Bethesda confirms Redfall requires an online connection, and you need to permanently be on it in order to play, even in single player. The requirement is confirmed in the company's newly published game FAQ, which states while players will be able to play solo without an Xbox Gold subscription, they will still need to be online to do so. It also states that a Bethesda.net account will be required to play the game. Now, in this modern age of games that we live in, some games require a one-off piracy check to connect you online to make sure whatever. I'm not a big fan of those, never have been. But requiring an online connection all the time, there's a reason why most companies avoid that. Turns out it's universally hated by players. As Video Game Chronicle points out, when it was originally released, 2021's Back 4 Blood required an online connection even when playing solo with AI teammates. But a later update removed this requirement, allowing players to play through the story offline. Which goes to show, over time, it always is seen as a bad idea for numerous reasons, but one that I think is very important. At a certain point, it means it has an expiration date. You're releasing a game designed that, I don't know, in 5 years, no longer to be playable. If they as a company decide that it's no longer profitable to keep the life cycle of the game going, then is it a dead game? Am I just out of luck? I can never come back and play it again? It is just gone from the, gaming historical record? I'll never understand the need for this. But there are things I do understand a need for. A new Dead Space being one of them. Because in an interview with GQ, the senior producer and creative director of Dead Space Remake have shown their interest in exploring new ideas for the series. The developers discussed how the horror genre was niche in the mid-2000s, but think the original game pushed horror in the direction of success before it disappeared off the map, adding that the timing is right now for Dead Space's return. Now, to be clear, it didn't so much disappear off the map as EA made the devs of 1 and 2 create Dead Space 3 as more of an action game with horror elements and microtransactions than, a good game. And then afterwards, when it didn't sell as well, scrapped the whole damn team. So let's be honest. But the two did ask themselves what comes next, where would they go from here? And honestly, I'm pretty excited for new Dead Space content. I would love new Dead Space content. The question I have is that the dev team that made Dead Space Remake, are they up to making a new Dead Space? Or is this kind of like a Game of Thrones situation? I think a lot of you know where I'm going with this. The first couple seasons of Game of Thrones were amazing. Super good, a lot of fun, but mostly because they had a strong foundation in the books. The minute they got off the books, that show went off the rails, and it was quite bad. And so I have to wonder, is Dead Space Remake good because the foundation was good? And if that's the case, does that mean the dev team has it in them to create something brand new that would still make you feel like, oh, this is Dead Space? That is an excellent question. And while we're talking about EA, boy, I bet FIFA's kicking themselves right about now. Like a football. Electronic Arts has posted financial results for the third quarter, aka the last 3 months of 2022. And it turns out FIFA 23 is on track to be the most played and profitable entry in the series to date. All this happening after FIFA announced it was leaving its relationship with EA to make games people wanted on their own terms. Like those 5 or 6 trash-ass NFT games they made. As PC Gamer says, the thing that may really help EA is that the publisher actually knows what it's doing. Whereas without EA, FIFA looks clueless about games and has ended up putting its name on some frankly crappy stuff already. EA Sports FC may not have the name recognition of a numbered FIFA entry yet, but with no serious competitors in sight, this is beginning to look like a walkover. And that's the thing, FIFA by walking away makes EA look like a competent gaming company, which It is not. Especially after how they handled this Titanfall Apex Legends crossover, which would have been amazing. They're both in one cinematic universe. It would have had single player stuff. Nah, they scrapped that whole thing, fired a bunch of people. I'll never forgive them for just being terrible, terrible hosts for Titanfall. That game was great. Titanfall 2 is great. EA just sucks, man. But somehow, next to FIFA, looks sparkly clean. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe. We're so close to 1 million. And I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.